Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Broken Family Podcast. It is nice to be interrupted again by Miss Poppy over there.
Sorry.
What did everybody think about last week's podcast that has not been posted yet? Just by memory.
What do we do?
What was last week's?
It was with Nikki.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good. It was a little
Nikki
somber.
It was?
It was a little somber. Yeah.
What was
What?
somber about it?
What are you talking about? I think you're thinking about 2 weeks ago, because that's what you said 2 weeks
Oh, well,
ago.
I don't remember last week.
Well, I mean, the lady almost died in the hot spring.
That was somber.
Remember, Mom, you said to Nikki, "Look at her face."
What? Look at whose face?
At Nikki's
At Nikki's
face.
face.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
wow.
You
You
did.
pointed out her face.
Well, I think she was just making faces to our conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you said last time.
Exactly?
Yeah.
Alright, can we
That's why
just get started?
we are. That's why she enjoyed the podcast so much.
Okay.
You're not very funny.
Okay.
Like the Book of Mormon.
And yours was about marriage.
What? My topic? Who's?
Yeah,
Yours?
last week's.
Yeah, you were about
Writing
marriage,
was
and Nikki
about
really
marriage.
connected
Oh,
to you.
yeah, I was mad at him. That's
Nikki
right.
connected to all of the
The women,
writings.
yeah.
Well,
And Jeffrey's.
Jeffrey's last part.
The last part she really liked.
Mine just reminded me of her mom. So she didn't really connect. I don't know.
That's kind of a connection.
I guess that's true.
Alright, let's get started.
Marley, you want to be up?
Get it over with.
Chills. I know I'm freezing. I'm freezing.
Having a best friend is like finding someone who understands you in ways no one else can. The laughter, the secrets shared, and unwavering support create a bond that's so hard to break. They become a part of your life, your story, and your memories. You love them deeply, and they hold a special place in your heart. But then something changes. Life happens, and the communication between you starts to dwindle. The distance grows, and just when you think it can't get any worse, you hear whispers, hurtful things said. Spreading through your circles like wildfire. The person you trusted the most is now talking behind your back. It's a betrayal that cuts deep, leaving you questioning everything. You wonder what went wrong, why they would turn against you, and how someone you loved could hurt you this way. The pain is a mix of sadness and anger. The pain as you navigate the fallout of a friendship that once meant the world to you. The memories of good times will always remain, but so will lessons learned. And while it's hard to let go, you find strength in knowing that you deserve better than what they gave you.
It makes me think of this idea that is bouncing around in my head around the dangers of a person that doesn't know themselves. The danger of a chameleon, so to speak. And you can never really find them. You can never really see them, catch them. And they often aren't what they seem. And that's not necessarily a judgment statement. It's more of it's more of like a warning, I guess. You don't know what you're going to get because they're always doing this chameleon thing.
Thank you, Miley, for being so vulnerable. First of all, it was a lot to share that. And thank you, Miley, for being so vulnerable and sharing that. I really appreciate that. That I like how you said you are worth, at the end, you said you're worth more. I think that was the words you used. And you are. And that's a hard thing when you're a teenager to realize. And friends throughout life are actually very difficult to find. And when we think we've found one, it's so hurtful to have someone turn like that. And I'm really sorry that you're having to deal with all of that, because I know that's a very difficult thing. And thank you again for being very vulnerable and sharing that with us. And I love you.
I think the hardest, hardest and most beautiful part of life is loving. Because the people that you love the most are the ones that can hurt you the most. And so it's always, also, you learn in life that people are just crazy sometimes and super unpredictable. And it's always just a guessing game. But, it's just, I don't know. It just made me think about our relation. We had friends that we were close with in high school, and it would switch. And it was hard, but it was like an experience. And it just, I don't know. It just made me think about, even with me and Payne. Payne's probably the person that could hurt me the most out of anyone, because he knows me the most. But that's just the risk you have to take. It's just a part of life. But it's still pretty in a way.
It is a weird thing that, the people that you love the most, that know the most about you, can definitely do the most damage. Mm-hmm. And it's often the people you don't think would do that cause that to happen.
That's why with families, sometimes people get hurt so badly.
You'll have many, many friends over your life. And like your dad said, the ones that know themselves and know who they are, they will be friends that you can trust, and that can be part of your life. They'll always be there for you. Those ones that know who they are.
I think the main thing is learning to love yourself, mm-hmm. and knowing you're okay, because that's what's really important. Because if you can have that when people turn around and they stab you in the back, because that's what as you were describing that, sounds just like that, as something so hurtful. And if you, even at 60, I'm learning, you have to love yourself. And if you can do that, it's still going to hurt, but you're going to know you're worth way more than any one of those girls that are doing that to you.
So what does love yourself mean in a moment like this, do you think?
Oh, I think just knowing, because it's okay to, we all get upset. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be hurt. All of those things are emotions, okay to feel. But I think it's just knowing, like you said at the end, that you're worth more than what they're doing to you is what's important, is to realize your worth. And each of us would have to find how we resonate with that. I don't know how to give an exact answer for that. I'm still learning that.
I think loving yourself kind of looks like knowing when to walk away, knowing when to put it behind you. Not put it behind you in the literal sense.
Maybe let go.
Let go of it, yeah.
I think sometimes loving yourself also might mean choosing self. I think sometimes as teenagers, at least for me, it was true. I think I believed that I needed someone else's love to tell me I was worth something. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something in growing into oneself to be able to realize, no, I don't necessarily need that love from someone else. I'm okay in myself. And so that way I can sort of protect or cherish self rather than having to put everything out on the table to get what I think I need to prove that I'm worth loving.
I think that I spent many years doing exactly that, doing so many things for different people. The town we lived in, we'd have people for dinner. I would cook for them. I would do whatever, and I loved it. And I thought I had so many friends. And what I learned is I really didn't. And it really showed who was actually a true friend. And that's a really hard thing to have to see, because Sue was really that true.
When's Sue going to
person.
come on the podcast?
Yeah, we need to have her come. But Sue was really that true person. That's Sue and Larry just stuck with us,
Good people.
you know?
And I want to reiterate, I don't think most people are bad. I
No.
really think most people just don't know themselves.
And they're damaged. Everybody's got hurts. Everybody
Yeah. I mean, I think there are a few people that really
are just me.
use people purposefully, and in my definition, that would make them not a good person. But I think most people are swept away by the, I don't know, beliefs of the unconscious they're not even aware of inside of themselves.
Well, and see
They don't
this.
realize they're
don't
doing
even
something.
realize.
They're doing something right now. They don't even realize
Right.
that.
See, and I obviously don't know the person that the people you're having trouble with, but what happens is that person is now getting this attention by spreading these lies or these things, and they're feeling really good about themselves, which is very sad.
I don't think that's true at all.
Well,
Right.
but by the attention, they're feeling
No,
good.
I don't think that. I don't think
But
that's true.
inside, they may not. But in the attention they're getting, they're feeling good. So that's the problem, that they don't know themselves, like you're saying. They don't know. The attention is what it's like. People that are famous, right?
I think a better way of saying what you're saying is the attention feels good.
Right,
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're feeling good.
right. It's just sometimes people think they need attention. Excuse me.
All right, Abby. We need a cough button for you, Mom.
I need a cough thing.
No cough drop.
Yeah, do you have one?
I have a whole bag.
Can you get me one, please? No? It's not moving.
I was gonna wait. I want to hear Abby's.
Well, of
Let's
course.
just
but
go right now.
she
It's
can-
better.
I'll wait.
Because then I won't cough between and drive Peyton crazy when he's trying to
No, it doesn't actually drive me crazy, Mom.
Do you want a honey pot
Yeah, honey pot's great.
or a cherry pot?
Honey. Peyton, can I have that other blanket there? Yep. No.
I like that.
Huh?
Yeah, that one. I like that one.
I would have hugged you, Miley, but I didn't want to pass on this goo stuff, whatever this is. It's like goo.
I just pictured you like
God.
I just pictured you like the 1300s and under some kingdom, in like a house, and you're just like talking about your sickness.
She would have been a witch.
Yeah, I don't want to
Oh,
pass
I
on
would've
this goo stuff. You. This goo stuff is so bad.
They would have.
Everybody would have been like,
They would have lit me on fire.
yeah. They would have. They would
It
have
would've.
tied you to a chair, thrown you in water to see if you sing.
Of course, I would have
The
sunk.
question
No, I
is-
wouldn't have sunk. I would have floated
You
would
would
have
have
been a
witch.
witch.
Then you would be a witch.
because I was round. But maybe then I'd been skinny.
Did the witch who got burned and drowned and lit on fire, did that witch want to be those things? Did that witch want to be burned?
No, who would want to be burned? What an awful way to die. Ugh.
Like you're saying, like maybe it was suicide. Like
Yeah, I don't
like,
think that's
oh,
ever.
I got
I don't think
caught.
that's ever considered.
Oh,
I
no.
think that's really bad. Like, why wouldn't she just hang herself if she was gonna commit suicide? She wouldn't want to drown.
People never make
And
their
then
death a
burn.
spectacle.
I don't know. I never thought about a death spectacle.
She's slap happy. She's not even on medication.
No.
It's alright.
I'm gonna burn up with a fever.
Maya texted me.
What'd she text you?
The plot thickened.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Read your thing. We'll talk about that.
anyways.
You need
Apothecary?
to send her this podcast so she can see that.
Apothecary?
No, the plot thickened in her story.
Oh,
Anyways.
whose story?
Nothing.
Oh,
Okay. This is an actual poem. It's called Harmony. While sitting on the edge of the end and beginning, you think to yourself, grinning, I am who I am, and that's how it is. The act of accepting creates bliss. Deep breath in, hold it, slow breath out. While laying on the ground, you feel the push and the pull. As static electricity builds ready to charge like a bull. Feeling and being you start to flow. Feeling and being you start to flow. It's all in us to find. Didn't you know? Deep breath in, hold it, slow breath out. While being in a familiar room, you start to ponder. Knowing what must be done, your mind no longer needs to wander. Confirmation becomes clear that it's time for a change. My animal has been shoved away in a box. Isn't that strange? Deep breath in, hold it, slow breath out. While contemplating between security and absurdity, one more dive creates fraternity. Tranquility and assurance fills the heart and mind. In the end and beginning, I wasn't ever sure what I was going to find. The end.
Can you read your very first line again?
While sitting on the edge of the end and beginning.
That made me think of like a really cool way to say, like, being in the moment. You're on the edge of both the beginning and the end of every moment at all times, and it made me think about just being in the moment.
I like the rhythm of that. The deep breath in, hold it, breath out.
Dad was breathing over here. He literally took
I
deep
took
breaths.
your advice.
Yeah, he literally did
Right when you
that
said
one.
that, I took
good
a
advice.
deep breath and held it and breathed out. Did you say in there about finding more harmony in comfortable spaces, in a comfortable place? When you're in a familiar place.
While being in a familiar room, you start to ponder. Knowing what must be done in your mind no longer needs to wander.
That's good.
What was I think I heard you right. You said something about animal?
My animal has been shoved away in a box.
I
Isn't
know, I
that
was-
strange?
I was like, what?
I like that phrasing. I don't know exactly what you mean, but
Well, I can try to explain.
well, you don't have
That's
to.
all
I
right.
was just saying I really like the idea of this primitive instinctual parts of ourselves that often gets shoved away.
Yeah, that was the idea. Just like, well, what I was thinking about is, as a woman, just pushing away, having a period every month and just pushing it away and not thinking about it and like hating it or getting birth control and shoving it away and ignoring it.
That's
Or using,
that's interesting.
and how that's harmful. But
Because it's a part of you.
yeah, because it's the
So
animal. it's us.
I've wondered how often, and this isn't a comment on your life, your experience, because I'm not a woman, so I don't know what that's like. But I've wondered how often that type of mentality of sort of hate for self or a process that's happening in self happens at puberty when a father realizes his daughter's turning into a woman and doesn't know how to handle that, doesn't know how to
Doesn't hug them
doesn't know how
anymore.
to process and navigate that experience, and how much of a father's shift with their daughter in that way might cause that mentality of like, now as a daughter I feel my father shift, there's something must be wrong with me, and this new thing's happening, I think I'll hate it too, something like that.
Well, I think it's super interesting, Abby, because you're the only girl in, was it 4 brothers? Mm-hmm. Plus a dad. So it's just you and your mom. But I'm sure that probably made you think some things like, why aren't I like my brothers? Why aren't,
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to do all the boy things.
And your mom probably wanted you to do all the
Yeah.
girly things.
Definitely. Yeah. I've just been doing more research and just like with hormone balancing and stuff, and I was like thinking, I was like, there's so much like hatred and anger during that week or however long it is that I'm sure it makes it worse.
Yeah.
And like there's people that are like, oh, my period was great, and because they're taking the preparation for it, like drinking certain teas at certain times to prepare their body, or different exercises or different times of rest, instead, and being in tune with the cycle instead of not knowing when it's going to happen.
No, what would happen is your father-in-law would say, your period must be gonna start.
Must be gonna start.
Must be gonna start.
I should send you a podcast I listened to a researcher who's female and who has studied the impacts of birth control, chemical birth control that has had on women and their physiological
Interesting.
bodies, and it's astounding. Like it's a travesty what medicine has done to women.
Can
Yeah.
you send me that too?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
because birth control really isn't beneficial for the woman.
Nope.
Besides the fact of just not having to worry about having a baby, but it's very harmful. It's more for, I guess, men's needs.
Yeah,
I
it's
would say.
putting it that way. It's I think it could be theorized that society's attempt to make women more like men at the quote unquote benefit of free sex never really considered the impacts that it would have on women's
Yeah,
systems.
yeah. And there's so many stories about, like, I mean, I've heard from family be like, oh, I had to get off birth control because it made me crazy because of hormones, and like they're like, oh, that was too much.
Well, imagine when grandma, and my grandma, so grandma and great grandma, Grammy, were young. My mother was told she couldn't shower, swim, take a bath, anything for the week she had her period. Can you imagine how smelly they were?
Ew.
Because you think about it, a period slows down when they get in the water. So I bet you that started when they were thinking that would maybe hurt a woman or something. But yeah, so she was not allowed to shower. Yeah. So my aunt and her,
It
and
slows down your period.
yeah, when you get in a pool, it actually slows your flow down. I don't know why, water or whatever. I don't know
interesting.
why.
Probably
it does.
gravity.
You would, I don't know. You'd think the hot water, warm water.
Well, I'm not
would
saying a shower, but it
That would
seemed to be in a pool.
seem to
would
speed
slow
up
down.
flow to me. Not
That was my theory. I am not a doctor.
Oh, that was your personal theory?
Well, of that slowing
You just
down.
can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it, or you have a tampon.
Yeah, but I would put it back. I hated wearing
Stop it.
tampons, so if I had a pad on it,
Just-
didn't
In
get.
the pool, you had a pad on?
Well, a clean one. I would jump
Wait.
in. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Not consider anybody else in this world.
Well, I
That's
did.
not, that, it's
That's
not,
disgusting.
Okay.
That would be
Well,
so
that's not
soggy.
gonna catch anything.
No. That wouldn't do anything.
It wouldn't
just-
slow it down. It would just water everything down.
Yeah, your
Well, did
period
anybody
goes-
see blood floating around? In the pool?
No,
You were in that
good thing that's chlorine though.
Yeah, I
guess.
did never have a
Well, have
problem.
you seen
Does
that?
it just
I
float
think
away?
it's Mark
The
Rober.
pad just washed.
Oh, yeah.
He takes chlorine water and he takes chlorine water that has pee and chlorine water that's just chlorine water, and he lets them both sit. The chlorine water that has pee in it smells like a pool. The chlorine water that has just chlorine water
Doesn't smell like.
smells like nothing.
Interesting.
Oh, and so everybody's always like, "Oh, it smells like a pool, so we're
That's-
good."
That's
Smells clean.
key. It's things interacting with the chlorine.
Oh, that's so gross. All right.
Emmy.
Okay. I'm a slow processor. I don't know if you know this.
Like for food or
No, like just for my thoughts.
Food moves through
No.
every 3 days.
That's why she has such a cute body.
What? Explain that logic
There we
at some
go.
point.
We're not gonna explain anything like that. Anyway, my experience at being a girl and going through puberty and becoming and starting my period, it was not a good experience. It was a shameful experience. And because we don't talk about it, we don't share anything about it, that was the mentality, and I had to hide it kind of thing.
It's the definition of shame.
Yeah. And so I don't know how much that contributed to extreme like cramping and like physical parts of that, but I think that really does play effect in how we look at ourselves as women. And I've really tried not to create that in my own home with my daughters. And but I think if we can look at it more as a beauty of creativity, like this is what where you are being able to create, that's where it comes from, that's where it stems from, I think would be more healthy rather than that shameful part of I wish I wasn't having my period this week. Or anyway, so that's something that I was thinking about, of how as a society or as supportive, being a support to women is not creating that shame at all, and being aware of that. I think that's really important.
Because even as simple as being on your period and hiding your pad in the garbage because you don't want anyone to see it, or it's the only one in the garbage, so you have to hide it and make sure no one knows. It's
How interesting.
even in the girls' bathroom, like wrapping it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I always wrapped mine.
Well,
As a courtesy.
it's also like
some of it's-
cleanliness.
yeah.
They smell too sometimes, so it's not pleasant being a woman sometimes that way. But
But I mean,
It's a part of it.
we are very.
I mean, that smells part of being human. So
Right.
it's-
I
But
think
men
we
don't
are
have
very
You're right.
blessed
They smell like
to live
roses.
in a time where we can be clean
yes,
and
thank
we don't
goodness.
have to have that constant smell. So like being able to take a shower every day and knowing that we don't have to
Yeah.
just sit in it a week.
Oh yeah.
That's better.
Can you
But-
imagine back, how many 100 years ago, whatever it was, they would take rags
Yeah.
and they'd have to rinse those rags out and dry them out, and then, that would be quite the process for the time you had.
1925.
Probably, yeah. When did
Well,
pads?
I mean, even further back than that, right? The Bible talks about women needing to isolate themselves.
Oh, when they bled?
Yep.
Oh,
That's sad.
That was a
Or the
a
story of
decree
that woman,
from
the
God.
blood thing she had a blood issue.
For years. Like
Yeah.
it was a continual thing.
Which would have been me if I had lived.
Endometriosis.
No,
Endometriosis.
like-
Could be.
But see, I
Could be part of
bled
that.
for 2 years, literally, and finally had to have surgery and things. But it was awful because you just bleed all the time.
Mhm.
So can't imagine being back in those days when they couldn't have fixed that.
I wonder if moms will watch this and go, "She just said that."
I think it's really important to like it's making me uncomfortable, but I think it's really good to say things that are normal.
People aren't alone.
This is normal. Women go through this every day, and I think it's a good thing to say it's normal.
You
Like
know,
it's
I'm-
not something we talk about.
felt like we had talked about prepared my girls, and it still was, not perfect when it happened. There was still something that happened. One didn't tell me. One tried to get help and couldn't get it, and another one, it was just interesting. Every different little story happened, and I thought I tried to be really prepared, but
All right, Emmy, you ready?
After that, she's like,
Do it,
sure.
man. Go, man. Do it.
Woohoo! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
That was a new sound.
Yeah.
She's produced 4 tonight.
Four
sounds.
distinct
Heard
noises.
See if you can find them in the podcast.
That's hilarious.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh, there's 5.
God. Thank you. I had a hernia. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay. This is a story.
With a man named Bill.
How did you take something?
She did.
Did you
You
drink some?
must have.
Did you drink some of your vanilla?
I'm convinced Mom's a closet drug addict, and she's always on drugs.
Wait,
Show.
maybe this is a night where she's off of drugs.
No, I'm just getting really
Maybe you had a
sick.
reaction to the cough drop.
I'm still there. Come on, and his name was Will, and he lived on the hill of
So
Bel
we'll find it
Air.
after.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it made me think of that.
Okay. This is called How Birds Build Their Nests. How birds build their nests. They find sticks and stack them together, and sometimes they use little stones or leaves. They usually make their nests in trees and maybe on houses. Once a bird is done building its nest, it will lay their eggs and sit on them until they hatch. Once they are hatched, the mother or father will go out and find food. They will bring it to each other. As time goes by, the eggs hatch, and as the babies grow, the parents will feed them, and once they're older, they will leave the nest and never come back.
Oh.
You said that.
very
You said that
sad.
so, and they will never come back.
That was the saddest story ever.
No kiss at the end of that one.
No.
It did make me think about what you were talking about in terms of this animal and instinct and this kind of stuff. How does a bird learn to build a nest? Like it's not like teenage birds stick around to watch parents build a nest,
It's
right?
in their
They're
DNA.
born in a nest, they leave a nest, and then suddenly they just do it.
It's
Maybe they study it while they learn to fly.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
maybe
How
it's
cool would it be to
just-
research birds for a year? and be
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
let's find
Well,
out.
Dad
That'd be
has
so
a
cool.
thing we could watch them on their nest. He has a thing we could set
What-
it up and
What's
everything.
the thing?
It's a thing that has a camera, and it would go to its phone.
That was just like the life of a bird. Instinctually, everything that you said there, those little birds just did naturally, and there was no instruction book, there was no guidelines. They just did it. It's kind of cool.
Need to cut the
It made me think about the nests that we've seen in our life, in our family. So like one was in our door. Our hanging
Florida.
wreath, the hanging wreath that I left on the door because they built a nest.
Did you see
Yeah,
cute
they-
little birds in there?
They-
Little
the mom
babies.
hatched
Every
them
time
and-
we open the door, they go.
That's so cute.
Do you remember that?
And then they
Emmy?
flew away, yeah.
And they never flew in the house.
No.
That's good.
Do you remember the nest, the dove's nest, right here in the crook of the tree? Just a couple of years ago.
No.
No, you don't remember? We looked through the binoculars and the little dove chicks were growing. And that reminded me, when you read that, that's what I remember.
There's always a windstorm that happens, and the baby birds fall on the nest, and then you try to save them, and the dogs run out there. We try to put them up, and they jump off, and it's a really
That's another important. That's a thing to think about. Not all nests fall down in a windstorm.
But
So why do some birds build them in such a way that
They can't be knocked down.
that they can't be knocked out, and some birds don't?
Is that an accident or not?
Yeah, is it an accident?
Are
Do
they
birds
just
learn
not
from
as
that?
careful?
Yeah.
Does that
The
bird
next
go on
time-
to
Who knows?
It's
How
just
cool. How cool would
a
it be
deep
to
sentence
look
thing
into
to
that?
think about.
There's so many different ones. Like the one that was at your work inside the tree.
Yeah, the tree.
That one was
That's
cool.
cool.
And then I know that there are nests that are on the ground. Like they don't build them in.
Yeah,
that
we
would
have
be
birds
dangerous.
in Utah.
Yeah, they're I don't know what they're called, but the parents will
They'll
act like they're hurt
sandpipers.
and run. And
Walk at you.
yeah,
You're like,
Yeah, they'll actually like flop on the ground to try to
to like make
get predators away from
their
the
nest. Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's what I feel like I'm going to do any minute.
Can we see that?
You want a nest?
No, I want to.
No, whoever's reading will stop
I'll flop.
and you'll flop.
Just when you're ready, Mom.
Yeah.
Are you up?
Wanna up?
Oh,
We're not going in my order.
we're going in Peyton's order.
I feel like I'm going to get 104 fever.
Maybe you will.
Yeah,
not.
maybe you will.
Maybe 105.
Oh, well, then I'd have to go to the hospital. and
Eventually.
That would be no good.
You
The
know,
old woman in the
Human's
hospital.
body temperature is slowly decreasing. The average human body temperature.
Well, I'm very cold.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because we've gotten very good at protecting ourselves from the elements.
makes sense.
Oh, we don't.
We don't need to regulate at that high.
I don't know if that's actually what it is. It's just what
It's a
I
good
think it is.
theory.
I have a body to last longer if other people aren't because I have more fat on me.
Yeah, that's a good reason to gain weight.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, you'll last longer in winters.
Yeah. Die of sweat in the summer, but lasts longer in the winter.
That's when you're just getting your pool.
Do we have a pool?
Got a kiddie pool out there. You
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm gonna try it.
can do a cold plunge. You
This is the picture of her lounging. Okay.
You know, every time she does that cough, I should change the podcast just a photo of an engine starting.
An old car.
It's a video of the engine starting.
that's a good video idea for YouTube. Just do like clips, like just
A
cut
montage of her plus little different cars.
it. But what they sound like, like a wood trimmer. Or I don't know.
Okay. This idea came to me while I was walking, and then it didn't quite turn out the way that I thought it would, but
As
we'll see what
walks
you think.
rarely do.
Yeah. All right. The tall pine. In a flourishing forest, a graceful pine stood. She grew tall so she could see as far as she could. Her roots spread deep and wide, supporting her height. What an amazing view from her highest site. But sometimes on the ground, on her bed of needles, she would find a deer or mouse or a family of beetles. Life in the forest was lively, busy with birds and bees. She found the grounding comfort from her group of trees. On a spring day, beautiful with sunlight, a small pine emerged next to her, reaching with all his might. He was strong and courageous with so much life. She stretched her branches to help protect him from pain and strife. Her branches sheltered him from snow and sometimes beat, also when the blazing sun gave off too much heat. She was there providing shade and love for him to grow. Together they watched the forest, and it was quite a show. That little pine grew and grew and grew. The tall pine taught him many things she knew. Being small and impatient caused lots of frustration. That's how our roots grow. Keep working on their formation. One day he passed her by in width and height. Oh wow, she wondered what will be in his sight. Look far and wide, but remember to find ground in your roots. They will strengthen you in all your pursuits. Her wisdom he remembered on his journey up high. His roots strengthened him on his way up to the sky.
Well, you and I have been listening to a podcast by Dr. Becky Kennedy. If anybody's struggling with parenting in any way, give her a listen. She knows her stuff well. But she talks about this idea of frustration is sort of the money spot for where humans grow. And too often in our society, we are quick to try to alleviate frustration, to try to get rid of discomfort. That's where the magic happens.
Like where you wrote about the grounding of the roots. I like where you wrote the grounding of the roots. That was something about that exactly. If you could read that again, I really liked that whole little section. Was really cool about letting them. Sorry, my brain has stopped working.
I know, I mentioned roots a few times.
Well, it was towards the end. Like maybe
Look
force.
far and wide, but remember to find ground in your roots.
Yes, I like that.
They will strengthen you in all your pursuits.
I tried to remember that really hard, but instantly forgot it.
Your roots aren't deep enough, I guess.
Not right now.
My daughter has left. Well, both of my daughters have left. But I wanted to share with her how proud I am of her strengthening her roots, because teenage life is hard, but it doesn't get any easier throughout life, and making sure you have strong roots is where you find that strength throughout your life. And so I was really proud of her for sharing something so close to her heart, and watching her go through that as a mom is powerful. So
What does it look like when you're forced to grow up, but you never learn to grow down as well?
It's an interesting thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really
we
interesting
fall
thought.
a lot.
Fall a lot.
Yeah, well, that was one of the experiences we had in Florida. We experienced 3 hurricanes, and almost every time, there's lots of trees in Florida. It's basically forest, and the trees that fell were trees that had shallow roots or that had rot. Those were the trees that fell.
Big trees
Big trees, yeah.
with big roots.
That's what we've lost too.
You can look at the pines, they have shallower roots, whereas these elms and ashes have deeper roots. And we lost the big pine tree,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. In a storm that only broke limbs of the other trees, but that one got pushed over for having lower roots.
Lower
No,
roots.
sorry,
Shallow
wider
roots.
roots.
Well, that's shallow. Yeah.
All right, Mom.
Jeffrey.
What?
This
This
isn't a
I think
name
Peyton
game.
said-
Oh,
Did you forget I'm picking the order?
oh golly.
I really liked that story more. That reflection. I think that it's cool that you're able to share how you feel with your daughters, but it's also cool to see your roots also grow. And I can see it with your writing. And it's just cool.
Thanks. I did think of you when I wrote it too. Thinking of my children. But I also was thinking about how you left our home and I had to just watch you keep growing. To the sky. So anyway.
It's really hard to be
Might
a
be
mom.
high. It's really hard to be a mom. It's really hard to be human.
There you go.
You watch your
Just
baby
being human.
chickies go, birds fly away.
It's hard to just be you.
Jeff just thinks I'm crazy, but that's. Oh, golly.
We all have a little craziness in us, I hope.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to hope that. It's just kind of what
It
we
is,
are.
right? It is. Peyton, is that going?
Yeah.
Okay.
See the red dot?
Yeah. Mom
The
just
red-
she just bumped it. I wanted to make sure.
Because he might be next.
Scooch back in your chair.
Sit back.
Just sit back. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm glad this is short today. I don't know. I had a topic in my head, but I just couldn't seem to get it together. I was kind of feeling a bit off, and I'm not feeling too good, so I just wrote this. I'm just not sure what I might write about on this day. Maybe I just want to keep my feelings at bay. Is there something wrong in my brain? Because it feels like a train.
Chugga chugga.
When the train gets noticed.
Sometimes I feel like there might be a strain. Do you ever have a day that seems kind of bleak? I'm thinking that there has been some kind of a leak. I should have a cup of tea, or maybe it's time to just take a plea. Should I bake a cake, or would that be too fake? I definitely think it's time to stop before I spin like a top. Or if I keep up the rhyming, my brain might just pop.
That's good.
One thing I agree with you thoroughly is a leaky brain is never a good thing.
Wouldn't it be good, would it?
I can also imagine you rapping.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
That was
just
some
like a
good flow.
backwards hat,
Well,
some pants like that are lower. Just like
That's
rapping.
a really funny image, and we should make that happen.
Yeah, they should make that happen.
We really
Music
should make that happen.
Yeah.
I love how you ended that on a personal note.
I don't think I meant to
But you
rhyme
did.
with my name.
Yeah. No, you ended on
I
with
just
pop.
thought that I might pop.
With pop.
And it kind of went with how I'm feeling tonight, actually.
They're gonna pop
Yeah, like a balloon.
from the emotions you're trying to keep at bay, or
No.
From not feeling good?
I just,
Very good.
it's kind of been a long week of not feeling very well, thinking I was going to have appendicitis, and then no.
Kidney stones.
Just probably kidney stones, and then no, surprise, a hiatal hernia.
again,
Again.
that sucks.
That does suck.
Would you like to tell our audience how many
Where-
times
where
you had
is
a
the-
hiatal hernia?
Where is it located?
So I had a diaphragmatic hiatal hernia, and it goes on this side of my stomach, on the left side, and part of the original one, my
The OG.
The first.
The mother.
the first one, it sucked up part of my stomach and part of my fat, and it sucked up so much fat that they didn't realize it, and it took 4 hours, and they almost had to quit to open me all the way up, but thank goodness they didn't. And this time, part of the wrap of the stomach has moved the tip up through, making a hiatal hernia again.
Was it painful?
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
It makes you feel like you have lots of gas, and I get really bad pain up here. Sometimes I used to feel like I was having heart attacks, and that was just all the gas, probably from the hiatal hernia. Like I probably had a time that my stomach sucked up. It was probably something that happened, and I never thought about looking. When that happened. So, anyways, yeah, that's exciting.
Really exciting.
So, yep, another surgery. Yay.
All right, Dad, you ready? No, you can go, Mom. Just go.
I want to go.
Just go.
Is it long?
Just go, Mom.
If you need to use the restroom, go ahead.
No, we can take a break.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
Why don't you go ahead?
She already sat down, guys.
Will you throw me that pillow? I'm trying to become fluent in rhyming, like on Lee. She does it naturally and beautiful.
Fluent in rhyming?
Yeah, fluent in rhyming. It's a new thing.
It's called being schizophrenic.
Oh, great. What? Oh,
That's one of the first stages going to schizophrenia.
Oh, great.
Your language starts to break down and you start to rhyme incoherently.
Terrific.
Incoherent. Was it incoherent?
Yeah, incoherent.
I think we've talked
It usually manifests.
We've talked about this before. Like, wondering if Dr. Seuss was
Schizophrenic?
schizophrenic.
Oh, he's fabulous.
What's going on over there?
We're on number 7.
I think, Mom's always been very prolific in communicating.
Wow.
In grunts?
No, in just communicating, talking. But I think when she doesn't feel good, it just comes out of her even on...
Unfiltered?
Unfiltered, yeah.
Unfiltered.
Is that a song?
It is in her head. That train is moving.
So this comes from... I wrote half of this a week or so ago, asking a question. And then, when Mom and I took this little trip a couple days ago, the first half came to me. So I kind of put them together. So this is titled Airbnb. As the air flowed from the silently spinning blades of the petite French country ceiling fan, my eyes opened slowly to an early morning, subdued, pre-dawn, dusky, cold light, filtering through pleated white curtains filling an old bay window. I blinked. She stirred beautifully beside me. Air seemed to be whispering in my silence. B&B? He airily questioned. You awake? Yes, Air, she groggily answered as a few fluttering snowflakes tapped against her bay window. He continued. B&B, how do you want to be remembered? Rather than answer, she shifted her amber creaking old oak floor to ask him a different question. Why did they put Air before me? Wouldn't it have been better that we were created as fresh B&B, still B&B, or maybe pure B&B? I don't know. Well, interrupted Air, at least we weren't named polluted B&B, humid B&B, or arid B&B for whiff's sake. Yes, she thought, and then, as Air slightly ruffled through her curtains, she stated, I still think our beginning should have been Breezy B&B. It just feels more romantic and comfy, and it definitely flows better. Air nodded in a drafty puff and flurried himself back into focus. Breezy? He blew out loud. I like that. Okay, back to my original question. How do you want to be remembered? Well, Breezy thought, as air gently blew around her, I want those that visit us to feel comfortable and right at home. And she turned to Air's attention to the little wicker basket by her front door, holding a few pair of cozy socks and a crafty little sign which read, Welcome, friends. Please take your shoes off and stay a while. And then she turned his attention to the cozy little bathroom with the old Victorian tile, edging white subway tiles surrounding a tiny porcelain sink with an old-fashioned waterfall faucet. Beautifully drawn flowers in black etchings grew behind a tiny shelf and mirror as a porcelain white tub painting sprung an explosion of colors from the giant bouquet of flowers filling its center. Breezy and Air had my full attention by now, as I quietly slipped out from under the warm covers to experience for myself what Breezy wanted to be remembered for. And on my way towards her French bidet, which, by the way, I would definitely remember her for that, I stopped in front of the old Victorian framed full-size mirror and thought, you know, except for the paunchy tire around the middle and a couple of lipomastic man boobs, this sexagenarian is looking pretty good. I smiled to myself and jumped into the tiny shower, passing cute little wooden buttons lining a white flower shower curtain to soak underneath her rainfall shower head's warmth. Thanks, Breezy. As her water's warmth flowed from my head to my toes, I admired the golden pothos reaching out towards me with twisting vines, and while watching the water running off my toes, gurgled through the water to myself, 2 more reasons I love green. Breezy directed Air towards the large wall mirror, and as I dried off in front of it, I noticed written into her mirror's glass as I spoke the words out loud, and each heart is whispering, home, home at last. Thank you, Breezy, and thank you, Air, for making us feel right at home. I will always remember your kindness and comfort. Their thoughtful silence was broken by a woman's voice coming from the TV on the wall. I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her. I paused, glancing over to her lying there quietly. I do, I said reflectively. Do what? They both chimed in unison. Love her. Ah, that's sweet, Air moistened. Tell us, kind sir, Breezy queried. How do you want to be remembered? I pondered that question as I stood staring at my birthday suit self in her breezy B&B mirror. I think I just want to be remembered as a son, a grandson, a great-grandson, a brother, a cousin, a nephew, an uncle, a companion, a dad, a papa. Just another human being. Just me. Easygoing, adventurous, no fear, kind, thoughtful, gregarious, simple living a simple life. I want to be remembered as having a profound faith and love for a greater power, a love for God, faith in a Savior, admiration and respect for creation. I want to be remembered as gifting free and unsolicited offerings of love, and willingly, without intention, receiving love. The greatest thing I'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. I want to be remembered as living life freely, living life on my terms, living life connecting with her, with my kids, with others, with God, with creation, with my soul. I want to be remembered as a calming waterfall, a hopeless romantic, funny, laughing at myself, a lover of beautiful music, comfortable in my own skin, active, competitive, loving to sweat, hardworking, loving routines, struggling with change, loving to wake up body, mind, and soul, a balance in life seeker, a hot-cold partaker. I want to be remembered as an intimate contact sharer. I want to be remembered in my natural, daily offering to the world in front of me, having a positive attitude, gracious gratitude, being thoughtful in creating, seeking tender moments of loving, simple, spontaneous smile offerings, happy countenances, reflective moments of simplicity and peace. My simple mantra, the best gift to have, is a peace of mind. I want to be remembered as having taken each day of my life, laying out expectantly vacant before me upon the naked openness of my expanding heart, and having believed and lived, being aware that bitterness will breed contempt, contempt will encourage hatred, and hatred ultimately will decay the spirit. I want to be remembered in my last breath for simply just being me. Breezy dripped a single tear. Miss you, from her slowly melting icicle hanging above the door, and air B&B'd a friendly wafted goodbye. I turned and with a reflective smile whispered, "We'll be back," and slowly closed the door behind us.
I like that, Dad. I like that, Dad. It was, that was a cute little place we stayed in. And I thought that was really cute, the way you wrote that. And I liked you describing looking at your body in the mirror. That makes me laugh. And,
How come?
well, because we're older than we used to be. And things aren't quite the same. But he still loves himself and described it and still okay. And I like that. I like the confidence he has in that. I've had to learn to like myself, saggy and all. You know, you just have to learn to look in the mirror and say, okay, you're looking all right.
Or you could pay thousands of dollars to mutilate yourself.
No, I don't have any money. So,
So yes, if you had money.
I'd maybe do a tuck-up of the chest, like so it would stand up. Because you don't appreciate when you're young that you have perky boobs, I'm going to say, with their chest. Yeah, you have perkiness, and you don't realize that that perkiness won't always be there.
You're young.
And we don't enjoy it. And I that's the one thing. I'm enjoying things more about myself, trying to be thankful for everything and about life. And sometimes I wish I could have had a little more of that, because you try when you're younger, but everything gets piled on and you pile on more and more and more and more. And a lot of times you just lose that feeling that you realize you can have, you know. But anyways, I liked your story. I liked the description about little things in there. It was very cute.
There's a beauty to the question, how do I want to be remembered? If taken seriously, really allows a person to get to know themselves and their values. I think it's a question that more people should ask seriously, because it's a window into self.
To add on to that question, do you think the act of writing down or saying how you want to be remembered diminishes your actions in life?
What do you mean? I don't know if I understand your question.
See if
I
you understand,
like-
you know, restate.
Listening to your writing, it was cool to hear, how do I want to be remembered? Because it sounds like, how do I want to be remembered after I die? But I think it's more of a, at least how I took it, of it's not a remember after you die, it's constant remembering. In the moment, what I want to be remembered as in the moment, every moment, no matter what.
It's more like, how do I want to live?
And it's like, you can set goals of what do I want to be remembered when I die? What goals do I want to have accomplished before I am no longer accomplishing any goals? But what I heard was, here are my goals that I have all the time, no matter what. And that's what I'm going to be remembered by,
It's
is
just part
my
of
goals.
us. It's part of us in every moment, and those parts grow throughout our life, but they just become part of us in an accumulation of moments that we live. And when I was in that B&B and Poppy was asleep and the fan was spinning, and I thought, what in this space, what does this space want to be remembered as in this moment with Poppy and I there? And how many other individuals and couples and families had graced that space and had a moment of remembering in that Airbnb. And that translated to my feelings about just living in the moment, Jeffrey. Like that was what I was hoping to get out of this.
Your writing made me think about how hard I have spent most of my life being on myself, never being good enough, always wondering, why do I not have friends like other people? Why are other people so mean? Why does family not like me? Whatever it is that you put on yourself. My kids are having trouble at school. I'm not a good mom. What do I, all these things you pile. And it is so interesting to be in somewhat of a little bit of a different space and realizing that I did the best I could for the knowledge I had that time. Sure, we can always improve things, but I feel like, it's a real lesson to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's okay. Or to get up in the morning and say, it's okay. Like, it's not perfect, but I'm going to keep trying. It's just an interesting, different space to be. I like the way you wrote that because it made me think about that.
Back to what Payne was saying earlier, like the idea of, because I was thinking about what you were saying, what did you say? Like, what was the phrase you said about, like, how do I want to be remembered? Sorry, I forgot. But I was thinking of that, and because I've always had that idea in my head of how do I want people to think of me and what do I want to present off, or like what do I want to put off as. And I feel like that could also be negative in life because you're worried about what other people are thinking about you instead of just being. But for me, it caused lots of stress because it would, I was like, I want to be this way, and then I would try, but I wasn't that way. So then it would just backfire and then be very discouraging and then recently I've done more internal thinking about myself and becoming myself, and it's been better, I guess, instead of worrying about the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the one thing I would put out there, you said something, Dad, about it's always with us, it's who we are or something like that. We're building this thing and it's with us all the time. I would push back on that a little bit in terms of values. Like, I want to be an honest person, so honesty. I never have a value, meaning I can never become that value because time is fluid. Moments are born, moments are dead. And every moment offers me a new opportunity to either move closer to my values or move further away from my values. So I never am my values. I always have a choice of which values I want to move towards or away from. And I think that's an important idea that made me think about that as you were talking. That it's not about necessarily being something, it's about being cognizant and aware enough that allows me choice to move in the direction that I think is useful.
Jeffrey, you up?
All right.
I don't know if we got to your point.
I did think that the idea of remembering doesn't diminish your life, because if you're constantly trying to remember what you're trying to remember,
Not remembering, just writing down. Like, does writing down, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this, does that instantly take away what you're actually doing or what you actually are doing? Like,
Why would it take away from?
I don't know. I don't know if there's this idea about like things being secret or a surprise as something that is better. That's like in my head, but it just seems like a lot of people keep what they're doing a secret in order not to ruin their acting in the moment.
Is it the idea of like saying I'm gonna be a good person or I want to be a good person, and then like instead of just being
Instead
a
of
good
just
person,
being a good person,
because they have to have a motive in order to be a good person?
not a motive, just
Or
writing it
reason?
down. It's just I don't know if it means anything, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting for sure to think about. I think about, I mean, with that question, it's like, you know, I would like to be able to start making sure that every time I spend time with someone that I've made sure and said, I love you, or, you know, gave them a hug. Because I think, you know, if that was your last moment you spent with somebody, that would be a nice memory for someone to have than
I mean,
degrading.
that's an assumption on them, though.
Well, maybe they wouldn't want my hug, but, you know, somebody might want my
No, I think it's an important thing to consider. That
I mean, to me, I think if I could leave letting people know that I love them would be very important, more than I do.
all right. This poem is called "A Violet Flower in a Field of Weeds." Three words to show my heart, not too shabby, a pretty good start. Moved to tears by words you've said, hard to share the feelings in my head. You meant more than I confessed. In silence, feelings were repressed. Scared of love, of commitments bind, yet your presence lingered in my mind. Pushed you away, you remained steadfast, enduring love destined to last. Afraid of forever, afraid to lose. Now in reflection, my heart bruised. I failed to show, you felt ignored. No blame on you, my heart implored. Wishing to be a better part, knowing you hold a place in my heart. Friends for now, unsure what's ahead, navigating feelings left unsaid. No regrets, or so I say aloud, yet thoughts of us, a lingering cloud. Not kissing you, a lasting regret, hoping the future erases all debts. Unknown paths we're yet to tread, maybe one day we'll play ping pong instead. These words I speak, sincere and true, for you, my love, I hold on to. Transformed from heart, truth unfurled, in this poem, my soul revealed to the world. A beautiful person, loving, honest, and kind, memories of the way your eyes met mine, wishing for one moment with you, one more kiss, but it is what it is, this hope might just be bliss. Blissful delusion, the thought of her brings confusion. I don't even know who she is, I don't even know if she is, a figment of my thought, who she should be. A perfect idea created by an imperfect perception, the idea formed from a child's eye. I know to find her, this idea must die. I'll use this moment to let go, change the way I think right now, change the way I think about her in this moment. I'll make a promise from now on to flip the script inside and out, to throw away this mold, choose to find you till I'm old. So hear me now, if I may be so bold. 3 words to show my heart. I love you is the ending part. Tears I'll hold to use as hope. I'll weave these feelings to a rope, then pull you into my gyroscope. I'll confess I feel your love pull so strong. I'll voice my love with a conscious song, embracing the past, though I thought it was wrong. Unfisting my hand took me so long. Just jump in the cold and breathe out a sigh. Who knows if Violet catches your eye? And the next time she does, I won't look away. When the chance comes again, I won't be afraid. If you're amused but still confused, it's okay. I'll tell you the truth at the end. Just come this way, around the bend. I'm just talking to an imaginary friend.
I really liked your rhythm. You were dancing a
It
little
was,
bit.
it was playful.
Yeah.
You sparked this idea of people want to find forever in a lover. They want to find that sort of fairy tale forever feeling, and the second someone has it, it's like you realize you can't have it. It's going to end. And that was a strange thought that popped in my head when you were at the beginning of your poem.
I think that's true, and once you have it, you can't have it. It's a constant dance in between of feeling the connection with somebody intimately or mentally, going in between that oneness and separate, back and forth. I think it's a beautiful dance we get to experience in life.
I think I really enjoyed it, your poem. It made me feel like it should have been written next week for the Valentine one. But, no?
No,
We don't know what the topic is.
Well, right, but that was a love poem. So
topic could be love bleeds red
that's true. This one was more joyful.
or edible. What was it?
Body pain.
Edible body pain.
Edible body
Oh
paint.
my gosh. I'm
Wouldn't fit too well.
well, I'm good. But anyways, I really enjoyed. I actually thought you were writing that about someone. So to say that you wrote it about your future someone, or maybe you did parts of some other people, but I really enjoyed how it flowed, and I just liked it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it had a really nice rhythm to it. And what your imaginary friend in all the ideas and concepts that run through your mind about that dance or that relationship or that intimacy, that was really well written.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed listening to your thoughts, and like I have an image of who you were talking about.
Me
And-
too.
And then I was like, oh wait, maybe it's not. And then so it's just it's a really fun. It was just really fun listening to your thoughts and how you made that rhythm, and I really enjoy your writings. And tonight, I really enjoyed it.
You can tell you guys are related.
Where do you
Comes very naturally.
Oh, because of the rhyming?
Yeah.
We'll be schizophrenics together.
Those are good lyrics.
That's a really good lyric.
Mother and son schizophrenic.
Schizophrenics together.
We'll be
Oh.
schizophrenic together.
Oh my! I tried to be schizophrenic. I guess tonight.
We'll sit and we'll play under the weather.
Yeah.
Write down.
No, you drew it.
I drew it?
No, you do it. I meant.
You drew it.
All right, Jeff. You ready?
I don't remember it.
We'll be schizophrenics together.
So on one of our walks, Emily and I found this deer. He was connected to something before that, but he had died in a field at the beginning of the winter, I'm guessing. And I hadn't walked on that trail for probably 3 or 4 months. So I found him and cleaned him up, learned how to clean the skull. And while I was trying to think about writing, I was sitting there looking at that skull, and this is what came into my head. So here it is. He lay decomposing in a field silently. This is called 1,000 Silences. He lay decomposing in a field silently. His antlers stand as monuments, cold, quiet, and strong like Greek pillars. A snowy cape lay before the regal death, wrought, is mutely preparing the rich soil to nourish the slumbering barley, waiting for the earth's breathless rhythm to tilt towards the sun once more, so the silent sun kiss will evaporate winter's icy grip and call forth the barley to rise with spring's resurrection. The inner music defies gravity and grows vertically. Green banners will be called forth to march, countless, as terrible as an army with banners, covering the land, waving victoriously with the wind. Flowers follow the quiet conquerors. They begin buddingly, with nature's eye attending. The feminine beauty spreads, sensually opening one petal at a time, silently offering a circle of eternal life. The armored and scarred sentinels rise up and wave. The lumbered shadows they cast in quiet confidence cover the willing, while holding space for Fowl's serenade. To play on the wind, the moon's serene smile reminds darkness is but a turning, while owl's wings cut the air like a specter gliding through a brick wall. Higher and higher, the wings cut, noiselessly gliding over rainbow pebbles, and airbrushed boulders, who roll through existence, never complaining, only obeying and resting. The mountain's assuredness knows no bounds, with words the loudest, unseen and captured by no ear. The mountain demands attention northward, pointing towards untraveled ledges, calling and beckoning to all, causing some to tremble and to shake, still others to bow and to take one silent step at a time. The still hush of 1,000 silences forever unfold, a tranquil, silent film eager to entertain and distill wisdom to those who stop their mouths, ply open their eyes, and unplug their ears, and allow a piercing down into the unfathomable depths and noiselessly echo up into the firmament. A still companion and a speechless teacher, a quietude carrying souls.
I really like, Jeff, how you described moving through this endless circle of life from death to decay to nourishing soil to growth. That it was just beautifully descriptive in that for me. I really enjoyed that very well.
Funny, because that was the same thing I got, is that it hit me when you read, like, describing finding it, and that the antlers were standing up and the cape of what was not rotten yet was just kind of spread out. And I thought, that's all of us. Every one of us will have a time when we're decaying in the ground for the bugs or the whatever it is, or if we're for the ashes, if we're cremated, whatever that may be. I thought there isn't a human or an animal that gets away from that. So that was that's what got me about that.
Will you reread your line about circling in eternal life?
Flowers follow the quiet conquerors. They begin buddingly with nature's eye attending. The feminine beauty spreads sensually, opening one petal at a time, silently offering a circle of eternal life.
When you read that, I pictured a flower opening and like a beam of light shooting out of it, and stars holding hands dancing, like in House Moving Castle.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, maybe that's what he meant when he was writing that.
So.
It's supposed to represent eternal life.
While you're reading that, I had the image, just the story kind of taking place in the setting with the owl flying above and the flowers coming up as it's setting, and then in my mind it was just the image of a man who closes his mouth and opens his eyes and is just fully present and aware of all of this that you just described before going on around him. And because of that coming to awareness I think you used the word echo, in my mind there was a beacon of light coming from this figure that opened his senses. I thought that was just a beautiful, steady build up to that last moment.
I think that that's really a beautiful thought, right? That if all of us could just stand in moments and visualize everything around us so clearly, wouldn't that be pretty cool if your moments were that clear all the time? I think we let so much get in the way, but that's really a beautiful thought, that like you open your eyes and you're just here. You're nowhere else.
Isn't it kind of cool that, like, I don't think you said moments. I don't think we have moments. I think we have a moment, and everybody who's conscious at this moment is experiencing the same moment, all traveling like seamlessly all together through this ride. It's cool to think about.
That's
cool.
The same moment, yet experienced through different eyes.
Or sometimes not experienced at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or not experienced at all, not aware.
Someone is in the past or in the future and they're not here.
They're not present.
So many times in
Not
my
present.
life, worrying about.
So, Jeff, at the
or
end
that.
of that, maybe what I heard or remember hearing was 1,000 silent moments or something. Can you reread that last part at the very end?
I mean, the time that I mentioned 1,000, the line was the still hush of 1,000 silences. I don't know. And then the end was a little different than that.
What were you expressing with the 1,000 silences?
As I was thinking about finding that deer head and being there and just going through all the things that happen, I was trying to capture all the things that actually happen in silence. That there is actually no noise that, at least to our ears, there's no noise that goes along with these processes that are happening all around us. And so I was just trying to capture that idea that there's so much in this world that is happening but quiet.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool thought.
Okay.
Take it home, Peyton.
Timing was groggy, but
I'm sorry. I really loved Peyton's poem last week. I had to read it again. And I wrote him back about what I thought about it. Getting to sit and just read it. I really appreciated your poem last week.
Okay, this is called The Language of Depression. A common unseen occurrence, such a menacing force, it touches everyone throughout different moments in this consistent experience we call life. Its voice softer than a storm not yet formed in a blue sky, with words unknown to the captivated bodies. Its power is unwavering in the face of the unknown. Its power being truth. Such a force is indifferent to the life you're trying to lead, the behaviors you might have learned, or the movements you might have mastered. Life is suffering, not because we want it to be that way. It just is. At the molecular level of life, the atom sits alone. The space between from our perception is too small to matter. Too small to matter. What a funny saying. Nevertheless, all the trillions of atoms that make up our reality never touch. There is a space of unexplainable distance that I'm sure if we experienced life through an atom's electron, we might only view darkness. People walk around like atoms, feeling as if they've connected, sharing words, sharing memories, sharing perspectives. Does it ever reach any of these sharers? Does the attempt at connection permeate the space in between all of us? I don't think it's possible for us to understand what it's like to experience another's view. It requires you to stand where they are standing, to jump where they have jumped, to laugh as they have laughed. It's an impossible ask. Connection is not meaningless, it's merely impossible. The space cannot be bridged, not for lack of trying, but for lack of force. The first person view is the only perspective we have. Our little box is it. Even if we can imagine, predict, listen to, or see another's little box, it doesn't mean we don't morph it into something radically different, something that our little box understands. If everyone who has ever lived has only tried to connect, tried to understand, then it seems that not one person has actually done so. There is hope, an evolution in consciousness. We have no control over its words that attempt to bridge the darkness we all live in. Those words seem destructive and dangerous to most. Phrases like I'm alone, no one understands, I don't want to be here, aren't inherently bad. Possibly it's the collective consciousness trying to point out the truth of reality, trying to share with us where we are actually standing. We are all alone, trapped in worlds of our own design. Some of us beg, some might fight. I'll stay around until I'm not. All of this to say I'm alone, you're alone, we are alone. Fear will damn us, beauty will save us. Embrace the dark that is at your water's edge. Let the bird drop stones to fill you a little bit more. Let these phrases remind us where we are and the mission we are on. Our only hope is connection. The path is being paved through the language of depression.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And the only thing my mind would let me think about while I was trying to listen was this idea that the deeper understanding goes on a quantum level, that quarks are so connected that they instantly happen together.
All I could think about was how many times I told myself the same stories that you wrote about in your thing. You're not good enough. You're not whatever those stories are. And then you talked about the view in your box, if I say that right, because I wanted to remember that whole thing. It was really good.
He said something like, we interpret, this is my word, interpret other people's boxes in a way that makes sense to us.
Yeah, but you said something about the view in your box.
Yeah.
And I thought I lived in a box for many years that I continued to let destroy me. And I thought, what a strange thing that I've passed down something to my children.
Why are you taking it in front of
Yeah.
No.
Why do you think you have that much power?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm sorry. As a mom, you think about stuff like that. I just do. I'm sorry. Just
It's
being a mom.
okay to think about it. But
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm letting go of those things. But I feel like I lived there in your poem for a very long time through my life, and I appreciate how you wrote that very much.
I think that was one of your points, though, is that ability to resonate with your words and what you were going through. Maybe that is the pathway to actual connection. Maybe the darkness is the light, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Because maybe the darkness is where we all are.
Right.
And we can't really go anywhere if we don't know exactly where you're at.
Well, and you have to remove that darkness, and that's a little hard to do.
Maybe you can't.
Maybe you can't.
Yeah, to your point, I think it's more of embracing the darkness and evolving like one of those insects that never get out of a cave, but suddenly can absorb light that isn't even there.
Yeah.
I just really appreciated everyone's things today.
did you? Were you saying that it's almost impossible to have a real connection with another human being because it's always through our eyes?
Yeah, it gets...
That
We have a box. We have this box we're looking through. We do this.
Filter.
You can make it a box.
Mm-hmm.
We have this box
but
we're
it's
looking through.
always comes from us.
And no matter what, from the day you were born, you understood the world through your box. And if you were always making everything yours, you've never actually understood anybody. You've only made it what you could understand.
Right.
Interesting. How do you get yourself out of that box?
You don't.
You don't?
It's impossible.
Because it's your view of life.
No
It's
matter
how you
what,
see life.
no matter what, you're going to understand it in the way that you can understand it.
Yes, but I feel like I've stepped outside of a box a little bit.
You probably have.
I don't feel like I am fighting that depression like I mean, now I can't tell you I don't have a down day or something like that, but I don't feel like I've had thoughts of wanting to take my life in the last few months that I it's been different for me.
I think there's a difference between, so we all have a filter or a box and we cannot get rid of it. It's always working.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being in the box and just stepping outside of it and knowing that the box is working. And I think in my mind, that's a little bit of what I'm hearing you say, Mom, is like, maybe I was, for much of my life, I was in the corner, staring into the corner.
Afraid to go out of the
And
box.
now, to borrow Peyton's imagery, I've stepped out of that corner and I'm sitting on the edge of that darkness, playing with ripples.
Yes, and I haven't taken away the darkness yet. I haven't stepped that far, but I feel like I have let go of some of those things that were kept me in that box. And I feel like I can't tell you it's 100% for sure, but I can tell you that there is, being 60 years old and coming to this point, there is a difference of seeing
I bet there is.
out of the box. I love the way you explained it. I really, really do, Peyton.
I love the imagery with the atoms and all the electrons and all those small parts of what this is, of what we are.
It really was an exciting connection to make on this atom level and the space between atoms, how they never touch, right? You were saying, and connecting that to humans was a cool way to do that.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about how like space is relative to where you are. It only is as big or how small your matter is.
Right.
That's why that phrase "too small to matter" is a really funny phrase, because it's completely relative.
It's
to,
relative,
to
yeah.
who you are.
Well, and it's so easy to sink into that and to allow yourself to think you're not important, you're not cared about, you're not loved, you're not.
What if you aren't any of those things, and that's the reality?
Well, I view it differently. I think everyone has.
Because what
Something.
if every action I have ever done has been interpreted through your little box and understood in your little way? And then what if everybody around me has always done that?
Well, I can't tell you that for sure, but I can tell you that I know you are worth being here. Everyone is worth being here, and I think maybe there's some people that maybe are really bad, but they've got to deal with that. But I'm talking about that so many people, and with our age of phones and all of this looking like they've had this amazing trip and I'm stuck at work and I'm never going to be able to afford this. I'm in debt so far. Whatever it is, people think they have nothing compared to someone else. And if they could just see for a moment how beautiful their existence is, I think it could make a difference.
Did you say fear will destroy us and beauty will save us?
Yeah. Some inklings of my favorite philosopher at the moment, who is Friedrich Nietzsche.
We're gonna do one of his books, I hope.
I really hope so.
It sounds hard to read.
The gay science.
It's called The Gay Science?
He has a book called The Gay Science. Yeah.
Okay.
When was it written?
1800s.
That's
Wow.
why gay is.
Happy science?
He had a huge mustache.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that, babe? Are you going to grow it out? So you're going to have one of those and Brady's not going
No, he
to?
had,
Or
he had a
both?
thick mustache and it kind of covered his face like this.
How do you want to grow yours?
Same way.
Yeah.
Like a mop on your face.
Yep.
That's right there.
Yeah, and I want to have my hair just going all crazy. All right. Well, what did everybody think of today's podcast?
I thought it was awesome. I really did. I don't know if it's because I feel like crap or what, but I really...
To Payne's point, that's the doorway.
Yeah, there you go.
that I really, really, really enjoyed everyone's writing today. Everyone's that touched me in some way.
Any title suggestions?
Tears that flow.
I have a poem titled that.
What's
Here's
the matter? The matter thing that you.
Too small to matter.
Ooh,
small
that's a
to
good
matter.
title.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
title.
Oh,
That's a
God.
good title.
Roots that run deep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can you do both?
No.
A dance with molecules.
The dance with molecules.
A space between.
The space between.
Man, they're all so good.
Not everybody gets a trophy.
The space between. A painful
No,
you're gonna
I
have-
didn't.
you're gonna
I
have
didn't
to
go
go
for
for
trophies.
You have a lot to choose from.
The brain will. I don't remember what I wrote now.
The brain train.
I can't even write. I can't even put a title out there for mine.
It was just your pause, Mom, when you just paused right at train, and it was like, wait, did I really write that?
No, that's the way my brain felt, like a train.
I feel like I'm going to pop.
No, that's the way I feel. A little bit, like, not very good.
All right. Well, anything else anybody wants to offer?
We have a guest coming next week. I'm super excited.
Be looking forward to that.
Super excited.
Hopefully this podcast will be up faster.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I
Right.
think, you know
Life
what?
happens.
It
You know,
flows as it flows, people. Let's just let things flow.
Like a monthly period.
I was going to make that joke.
No, I was thinking more like bathwater, shame, Wayne.
Shame Wayne.
Bathwater.
Shame Wayne.
Can somebody write that down?
That's unforgettable. Bathwater. Shame Wayne. Mom is a rapper.
Oh, and I'm crying. It's been a very emotional night. I think I have a fever.
Just keep him at bay.
The fever at bay?
Yeah.
You gotta keep him in the box, man. Why is the fever male?
That's an important question. I think
That
you
is
should
an
know
important question.
Because he's mean.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, share, subscribe, and if you give us a 5-star review, maybe you'll get to see a little bit more of the space in between.
Cool.
Woohoo!
Very good. Cool.
Yeah, I love it.